Welcome to the Unlocking with Ermi podcast. I'm Ermi, your host and guide into the world of spirit, intuition, and soulful insights. If you're here, you're likely looking to expand your spiritual journey, connect with loved ones on the other side, or just find some clarity and inspiration. Well, you're in the right place. In each episode, we'll explore powerful insights, dive into fascinating spiritual topics, and share real stories that open doors to new perspectives. Whether you're a seasoned spiritual seeker or just feeling curious, I'm here to make these connections accessible, relatable, and meaningful to you. So grab a cozy spot, open your heart, and let's get started. All right, guys, welcome to my very first podcast with somebody that I'm interviewing. My lovely friend Brooke Ann is here, and I definitely am excited for this episode of this podcast. This is all about Brooke Ann and who she is as far as an intuitive and medium, and her just doing all the things, helping and healing your favorite healers. She's one of my favorite healers out here. And I want to go ahead and give her space to introduce herself and let us know, who is Brooke? Who are you, Brooke? Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Well, first, I want to say thank you, Ermi, for me being your first guest and for you to interview me on your podcast because I am in awe of you and everything that you do. So I appreciate you so much for having me today. And my name is Brooke Ann. I am a psychic medium. I'm also a Reiki practitioner as well.
Okay, all right. And one of my first questions I have for you is like, what drew you into the space to do this, to help people in this way, being a Reiki healer and a medium?
Actually, it just kind of caught me off guard. It wasn't something that, from a little kid, I was like, oh, I need to be a medium or I talk to dead people or anything like that. It was actually when I was in my early 30s and I quit smoking pot, everything started flooding in. So it was like I had panic attacks and anxiety, and it took about 4 years to kind of figure out what was actually happening to me because I went to a therapist and that didn't work. And then I went on anxiety medicine and that didn't work. And then it was when I went to my first mediumship circle in the town that I live in, was where everything started to make sense. And there was a lot of things that happened in between there that you just can't make up, or you just, you're kind of confused at like, why do I know that? What's happening? Why can I hear this? Why do I see this? And why do I dream this? And then you kind of look back and you kind of see, oh, this has kind of been happening my whole life, but I just didn't really pay attention to it.
Okay, so you say that when you were smoking pot and you stopped smoking pot. So would you say that it was suppressing some things? Because I know a
Mhm.
lot of people, they start to take or they start to smoke, and I feel like they say it's an enhancer for them, but it's not that for you. It wasn't like that for you.
It's not. Smoking pot is kind of a downer. Alcohol is a little bit of a downer. It lowers your vibration, right? Because now you're kind of clouding your mind. So a lot of people use like pot and alcohol, which I've seen is because they're nervous. They don't trust spirit, they don't trust themselves. So they try to do something, whether it's smoking pot or drinking, to kind of relax. But the problem with that is there's no discernment of is it their thoughts or spirits because now your mind is cloudy. So a lot of people use it as a tool, but I always feel like in my journey, if I'm drinking or if I were to smoke pot again, I don't feel like spirit would want to work with me.
Mm.
Because that's kind of like when I quit, that's when they really started showing up for me.
Oh, wow. Okay. So that definitely makes me, because I can't do any of that. I can't, because I feel like I'm floating away. And I feel like I'm in the clouds and I'm like, I feel
I
like
mean,
I'm losing my mind. I feel like, so I'm glad you
yeah.
are able to at least have that start of what I was beginning to think, like, okay, because I see a lot of people like, oh my God, smoking and it's the best. And I'm like, well, I can't do it. I tried an edible once and I'm like, I felt like I was losing my mind. I felt like the world, I don't know if you've seen Doctor Strange or okay, so I felt like I was going through a portal and I was just
Oh,
seeing all the
wow. Okay.
wait, what's happening to me.
Okay.
So naturally I'm able to just float. I'm able to do it without any of it, right?
Right.
So for you, would you say, do you feel like you are able to actually, do you feel like you have to ground yourself a lot to not have that feeling of float? No, I don't want to say floating. I'm trying to find a better word.
Right.
or connect with spirit in a way? Like, how do you connect with spirit and then ground yourself, continue to ground yourself?
So I think with like the years of development, like in the beginning, I would have to like meditate for hours or like, go put my feet in the sand or go outside or like it was like this long process to try to connect to spirit, right? And I thought that that like made a difference or if I held certain stones or things like that. But now I do when I do my readings or I do groups, I always hold my uh clear quartz always. It's actually like changed because this has been with me for years. But all I have to do is I just say, Spirit, I'm ready, and they show up.
Okay.
So it got to that point where it's like, I don't really have to ground because I trust Spirit to respect my boundaries where they come in when I ask and they stop when I ask
Okay.
because we have that relationship with each other. But now in the beginning, it was a lot. Like
Mhm.
it definitely was, a process of trying to figure out how to connect with Spirit. How are they going to show up when I ask?
Okay, so how long have you say you've been doing this already?
So it started about 12 years ago, but 8 years, and then I've been professional for the last three.
Okay, all right. And I know you said that you have your quartz that you hold. Do you really see the difference when you don't have it versus when you do?
I've never done it without. It is like my, I mean, you could see me at groups or public events. I have it in my left hand. I have it if you come into my house for a session, I hold it. It's like it's like something that's almost like a part of me where I feel like if, if it's missing, I know I'll still work, like it'll be fine, but it's something I've always grabbed. I don't care about stage. I don't care about anything else. I just want my clear quartz and that's it. And I've never done a reading without it, actually.
Okay, okay. Okay, so I want to know when was the first or the first actual reading that you have done as far as mediumship? What was the first one, the actual like I'm actually connecting with the energy and oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this. Like this is
Okay.
real.
Yeah, so it was actually when I did my first mediumship circle where you have that validation and the confirmation from the person. So it's in my town. And the first thing I was so nervous. I was like sweating and I'm thinking, why am I here? This is so stupid. Like I'm gonna make a fool out of myself. And there's like 15 people. And we have to do psychometry. So psychometry is where they put the item, in a basket, you put something personal, and then you pick it back up. And I remember this, it feels like yesterday, even though it was like 8 years ago. And I remember picking up the item and it was a man's watch because there was mixed genders in the room, right? And I'm like, you can't like, it's a huge watch. So I'm like holding on to it and she's like, feel the energy. And I'm like, okay, this guy hit my back hurts. I see a wheelbarrow with bricks and it's like he's digging dirt and he's laying these bricks and he looks like a landscaper. And everybody has to go around to say what they got. And like, I was so freaking nervous. I'm like, oh my God, this is so dumb. And so they're like, Brooke, what did you get? And I'm like, oh my God. And I said it, and I'm probably like dripping, right? And he goes, that's my watch. I'm a landscaper and I can't work right now because I hurt my back. And I'm like,
Oh my God.
what? I was like, no freaking
Wow.
way. So like that was my like aha moments. And I had had moments prior to that, but I didn't really have the validation because I was scared to say anything to anybody. It's like
Mhm.
only people close to me knew like that I could hear or see or sense. And I didn't ever want to say anything because I wasn't really sure what was happening either. But
Mhm.
that was the first time where I actually said something out loud and got the validation back. And then I'm like, oh my God, there is something more to this. You know what I mean?
Have you been connecting with spirit in other ways outside of just mediumship? Like have because I know we set boundaries with spirit or energies. But the moments where you didn't realize you needed to set boundaries and you were out and about or whatever, however it happened, would you be able to tell me experience like what happened? Because I know that I had to set boundaries because I had energy showing up to me in hotels, into hotel
Hmm.
rooms, and I'm in the bathroom. I'm like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
So what was that? Have you had those experiences as well where you had to set boundaries?
Definitely. And if I am in a large crowd, I have a hard time setting boundaries because there's too much energy. So I don't like to go to concerts. I don't like to go where there's places where there's a lot of people. If I go to the grocery store, it has to be certain hours of the day because I can't control it and it feels very overwhelming to me. But in small spaces, I can control it. Like I have a really old house and I know there's a woman that died here and I know she hangs out in my bedroom, but she leaves me alone because I'm not her people. Like, there's nothing for her to say to me that I can validate. So it's like, why have a conversation? I don't know who you are. I don't know who your family is. Like, that's fine if you want to hang out here, but I know she's more attached to the house than with me. But I have had instances where I have felt like I was dying out in public.
Mm.
I get overwhelmed. I'll get chest pains. I will feel people's energies and I will want to go. So if I go to somewhere that's crowded, I have to sit on the exit seat. Like I have to sit by where I can leave easily. I don't want to be trapped anywhere. I feel like I started getting claustrophobic when my gifts started opening up, where I just like to be able to go if things are overwhelming. But it's difficult, you know. And one of my first experiences of that was so I co-own a restaurant as well with one of my best friends for the last December 3rd will be our 14-year anniversary of owning it. Thank you. And and we were at one of our customers. He was in a rehab center, and this was years ago. This was in the part of before going to like a mediumship circle, not fully understanding. And he kept saying he was going home, and there was five of us, and I couldn't breathe when I was around him. And my son was there, and our friends were there. And I'm like, I can't catch my breath. I don't know what's going on. And he's like, yeah, when I get home, and oh, we're going to do all this stuff. And we started leaving. And I told everybody, I said, we need to go take a picture of Tink because we're not going to see him again. And
Wow.
they said, no, you're being so rude. That's so negative. Why would you say that? He's going home. And I got in the car with my son and I said, Cam, he's going to pass.
Oh.
Like something is not right with him. Like he's not going home.
Mhm.
But then people make you feel really bad for being on the negative side of it. So then I felt bad for even saying anything because I'm like, maybe that was my own emotions and I shouldn't have
Mhm.
mentioned that I couldn't breathe around him and that this was going to be it. And just a few days later, his neighbor came in to the restaurant and my business partner pulled me over and she's like, you need to go talk to that lady. And I went over to the table and she goes, I just want to let you girls know that Tink passed away last night. His lungs were filling with blood and nobody knew. And then all of my friends apologized to me. They
Oh.
all came and said, I'm sorry that we were mad at you. We should have got that picture. We thought he was going home. And so that's when it gets to the point where like I probably shouldn't have said anything. I didn't understand that at the time to not say anything because of the negative impact it might have on other people or even myself, because it made me feel really bad. But that's sort of the types of things that happen to me when I'm in large crowds that I
Mhm.
can't control is the feeling. Or like in hospitals, it sucks. Or if you're at the doctor's, I mean, it's just like you're picking up all those
Do you
energies.
still get that? Do you still feel like you can tell when someone's gonna pass? Like, do you get that
No.
now? Okay.
I've asked to please not tell me because it could be my own like thoughts or emotions and it doesn't really do anybody any good
Right.
to know that or to say that.
Mhm.
So in my journey that did happen, but I don't want it to ever happen again. Like
Mhm.
I don't want to
Right.
open myself up to that because
Yeah.
it could be my own thoughts
Yeah.
and they might be fine.
Right. I that's so relatable. And I definitely 100% agree with you on that. Because when the energies, I don't want to know. I don't want to know because again,
Yeah.
why? What? I guess it's just to connect with spirit, to have spirits show me, okay, you are seeing what you see, Ermi. It's probably just for me to,
Right.
trust spirit more. Because I'm like,
Correct.
spirit, why would you show me that? It is like I need you to trust me. I need you to trust us, like, our connection more. So I'm going to show you these type of things so you can build more trust with me, so you can be able to not be afraid of when I do bring you the most craziest things or what what people consider to be dark or something crazy. So I'm saying all that to say this: have you had any dark energies or challenging spirits to come forth? To like, how do you handle that with a darker energy or what's considered to be dark? Because I would like to work with I consider all energies, not all, but majority of energies. I want the only best, highest
Yeah.
frequency. That's the only ones I want to work with, baby. Because I don't know, I don't want to see, a serial K or I want to see all that stuff. But sometimes spirit says, you know what, Ermi, but you can handle some of the stuff. So this might be an evidence piece, and I want you to just say it in a way that where the sitter can understand, but not to invoke or trigger anything in the. I don't want to do that. So, but how do you handle, energy or a situation like that that may come forth?
So interesting. So I don't really believe in like dark energies.
Right.
Because I don't feel like spirit can hurt us. I feel
Right.
like a lot of times that's like negative energy, but that might have been trauma that they experienced in this life or things that they, went through. Because I think even sometimes when you meet like physical people that are still living, and a lot of people are like, they're evil or they're dark. And I'm like, but you don't know their story. You
Right.
don't know what they've been through. And a
Yes.
lot of people hide trauma and things from the past, and they put out this tough exterior and you don't really know what's happening. So I have done sessions that have been pretty brutal where people have been murdered, but I don't connect to the actual murderer because they're actually usually still living or they're being, going through court cases or things like that. And I've done a lot of paranormal investigations where I've caught images and a lot of bad things have been done in these places, but you feel like the sadness, you feel the heaviness,
Yeah.
but I don't really feel like there are any really negative spirits. Like I've had people sit in my office and say, I don't want to talk to this person because they were bad in this life. They might actually acknowledge that if you talk to them, but their soul isn't bad anymore
Right.
because they're at peace, they're in the light. They're gonna describe who they were when they were physically here. Because if they say, "Oh, I'm such a nice person," your client wouldn't know who you were talking about.
Right.
You have to describe who they were when they were here, but it doesn't mean that they're actually still negative on the other side.
Yeah, that's what I agree with. I agree, because again, it goes back to me trusting what spirit is showing me. So it's like this is an evidence piece about this person. So don't look at it as totally a dark thing. Because I feel like there's a lot of people that's coming to me has been bringing up darkness and darkness and darkness. I'm like, well, I only work with light. So I don't
Right?
I
You're like, go away.
I'm not interested in that. But Spirit is like, but I need you to be able to say, or are you able to say this evidence, this piece that the sitter would know. Only the sitter would know this, and they're gonna be like, well, how the hell you know that, bro? Only nobody even it's still under investigation or whatever it is.
Right,
I feel like that makes sense to me. That
right.
makes sense to me. So I'm glad you said your viewpoint on that. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I do want to ask you, and I'm probably jumping ahead, but I do want to ask you. So, now that you're doing this, you feel good doing this. You feel comfortable doing this. You feel free because I know you do gallery mediumship. A lot of people don't even know what that is. So, would you like to, explain a little bit of what is that? What is gallery mediumship?
So gallery is where, you are at an event and you just show up to work and everybody gets a reading. So people can book a private gallery at their home with me or at their business. I've actually went to people's businesses and done gallery readings where they invite whoever they want, the host, and I have no clue. And you go in and you work in front of everybody, and everybody gets to witness everybody else's readings, and everybody has to get a reading.
Mhm,
So I will read everybody there, and everybody gets like about a 10-15 minute reading. It's very short, it's sweet, but
mhm.
they have to understand who I'm connecting to. Um,
How
you
did you
know,
get that started though? How did you get
well,
that started? Like what moment? Was it were your circles and the in-person circles? Like how did you get that going to where you doing gallery mediumship versus somebody doing it? Yeah, that's my question. How did you get that going? Like what made you say, all right, I'm gonna start doing this more or start to do it in person for myself?
so actually one of my mentors, I've had three different mentors, and after I finished my second mentorship program, I had to do a gallery at her house.
Mm.
So I had to read eight people at her home.
Mm.
Talk about I wanted to throw up.
Okay, because that's
Like,
what I'm
are
thinking.
you
I'm like, oh my God,
serious? Like, I have to read eight freaking people and like, what? Like, okay, and where's the exit? Because if I feel like I'm sucking, I'm gonna run out that damn door as fast as I can. But it ended up being amazing. I cried afterwards because I thanked Spirit for showing up and everybody got a reading. And it was magical. And I was just like, oh my God, I can actually do this. You know what I mean? I can do this. And then after that, I started charging. So that was 3 years ago in June. June of 2021, I started taking my first clients
Okay.
and started charting. It was a slow progression. And then it's just been word of mouth. So I offer it on my page, and then other people that go to group events or gallery events, they'll contact me for a group. So like last month I had four private group events, and then I do mediumship 4 days a week out of my home. So that's my main job. But yeah, the galleries are it's word of mouth. Like once you start doing it, you just and if anybody is listening and they want to do it, have a friend start it at their house, but try not to know anybody that shows up. Try to have them invite people that you don't know, because then that proves that, spirit's really there, that you're very good at what you do and you are connecting. Because that's what it's about, is showing people and showing certain skeptics, because a lot of men are skeptics.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And I love when they're at my events because they are the first ones to cry,
Oh.
because it really hits home where they're not realizing what we do is really real. You could already feel, and there's women too. I could tell you when I go to somebody's house and when they won't look me in the eye, I already know they think I'm full of shit. I'm like, let's go. And I've got a lot of great messages of people saying, I did think you were,
Mm.
full of shit. My friend invited me. I thought it was going to be, just entertainment. And then they're like, you really hit home. So, said things that nobody would know. And I don't even know their names. So it's not like I could Google. I do not remember. I don't know anybody's names that are there. I only know the host.
Oh,
I only know the homeowner
I
because
love
they
that.
book it.
Yeah, I actually love that. I love that. But okay, so I'm loving that because I thought about that in that sense of okay, how am I gonna be able to do that? How do I stand out? Because I really want to go more local and meeting more people in that way and people in my community. So I'm still on the fence about it because again, I'm like, oh, I'm still kind of nervous because what you said literally,
Nerve-wracking.
oh my God, I don't know if I can do this in front of all these people, how people are gonna look at me. I have literally eyes looking at me this time versus me doing it on the live.
Mm.
So
And you have to be ready for people that don't believe you. Because I had one lady at a private group where she was so rude.
oh,
And I say things differently. So I don't say the word suicide at all. I say
yeah.
pass by your own hand or
Mhm,
take responsibility.
mhm,
And she was so freaking rude where she's like she's like a heckler. And I'm like,
mhm.
why did you pay to be here? Like, please
Yeah.
stop. So you have to also be able to navigate the room too when you have very rude people. Because she's like, why didn't you just say they killed themselves? And I'm like, okay, this might not be your loved one, but
Right.
this is their loved one. And you have to be able to take charge of the room
Right.
with confidence to trust that what you're doing is correct and doing it right, because you might have people that just don't believe, and no matter what you say, it doesn't matter.
Mhm.
I still took her money. I'm like, you still pay. You listen, I don't care. Like, you still pay. Like, I don't work for free.
No refunds, ma'am. No refunds.
I don't know. Like, you decided to come to this party, like you're
Yeah.
paying me. But you also have to be confident in your gifts, because you might deal with people like that, and it can
Yeah.
be very frustrating. It's very rude, especially for the other people that really are looking to connect with their loved ones that have passed.
Wow. Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that. Thank you so much for saying that because I really am going to be, that's going to be in the back of my mind to start to search a little bit or seek and set that up for myself.
You should.
Okay, but I do want to ask you about how does your family think about you doing this? A lot of people have issues coming out of the closet, the mediumship closet, or doing spiritual things. So, how was that for you coming out of the or are you still kind of like, I'm just still in here a little bit. So, where are you at with that coming out of the closet, I should say, but not really the closet. You know what I mean?
I know, the spiritual
Being
closet, because
seen.
it is
Okay.
hard. Like, I live in the Bible Belt. I live in the South, and I'm not from here. I'm born and raised in California. So I'm used to like a melting pot of, different people and different views, and not everything's the same.
Mhm,
And so the South is a little different. And my husband has been my number one fan.
mhm,
He fully supports me, and that's like the best thing for me, to have his support.
mhm,
And my mom and my sister, when I came out to them, they were like, "Oh, we knew." And I'm like, "What?" And they're like, "Yeah, we knew. We could tell. You knew things when you were younger. There's no way you would know." So
mhm,
they were fully supportive. It is still harder for me because so I own a restaurant. but I'm also a private chef and I'm also a gluten-free baker.
Mm,
So I have four different jobs. Mediumship's my main one, but it's hard to navigate to keep everybody separate. So
mm.
like the guy that I cook for, that I'm a private chef for, he's an oncologist. So he has no idea that I do mediumship. I've been cooking for him for 4 years. And
Wow.
it's ironic kind of because he has really bad weeks because he has to tell people that they're dying, that there's nothing else he can do. And then I'm like, it's weird because I give them hope again. So
Mm,
it's an interesting thing of
wow.
that,
That
and he has
dynamic.
no idea, and I'm totally fine.
Yeah.
And like my baking customers have no idea I do this,
Oh.
or if they find out, and like people at the restaurant have no idea I do this.
Mhm.
So it took me a while to even post it on my Facebook page that I am a medium and that I do this for a living because my husband is always like, that he's like, if they truly love you or care about you, they're not going to care. But there's like people that I really love and care about that might care what I do, and I really don't want to lose that friendship. And
Oh.
it's not about like the work or, like if they're a baking customer, like I truly love them as people. And it's crazy to me to think that they will think different of me, of what I do, but they will.
Yeah.
And my husband's like, just let them go. And it's like, they're truly just amazing people, and I would be sad like if
Yeah.
they found out. And to me, I don't like titles. I have never liked titles. I don't ever tell anybody I own a restaurant. Most people don't even know I own a restaurant. Most people don't know I'm a medium because I don't care.
Yeah.
Like I feel like a long time ago when I bought the restaurant, I could see people treat me differently when they found out I was an owner from a server. And I thought that was really shitty because being a server is just as hard a work as being an owner. And sometimes
Oh,
being an owner really sucks because you're working for nothing.
yeah.
So, but they hold you up on like almost like a pedestal, like, oh, you're the owner. Well, you treated me like shit when you thought I was a server, and
Right.
now you don't. So ever since then, I don't like titles on me or people. And like you can ask any of my friends, I do not like people to tell anybody I'm a medium. I don't like anybody to tell any of my business really,
Mhm.
because I want people to like me for me,
Yeah.
not for what they think I am
Right.
or who I could be to them.
Mhm.
And I feel like if people sit in front of me and they're here for mediumship, I got them organically, like their loved ones, or somehow they were supposed to be sitting in front of me in my office. And it's the same with my baking, and it's the same with my restaurant.
Mm.
Because where I live, there's over 14,000 restaurants, and we've been there for 24 years.
Mhm.
So I've owned it for almost
Wow.
14, but I've worked there for 23, and the restaurant's been there for 24. You
Wow.
cannot be in competition with others.
Right.
Whoever's supposed to be in front of you is supposed to be in front of you. So
Absolutely.
that's kind of my take on that part of like kind of coming out. I still fully haven't because
Mhm.
to me, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I know a lot of people they're still just trying to figure it out, trying to figure out what should they do, and they do same like you, Brooke, love certain people, and I'm like they don't want to lose that friend, they don't want to lose that
Yeah.
friendship because they really hold that they value that friendship, and they know if I say this, then this would be, and I also feel like your husband too, like okay, well if they love you, it shouldn't even matter, but it does, because I do have a friend that we were pretty close. Like I prayed, she knew me from church, my church days, and she didn't know that I have already started to do the mediumship and tapping into this space. And she still would reach out to me to pray because I didn't disclose that to her. And then one day, I don't want to say I accidentally, but I kind of did send her a video from my mediumship page, like a regular video of somebody making a dance or something. And then she's like, "What is this?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, that's my psychic medium." She's like, "So what is that? What is a psychic?" And I already knew. I was like, "Oh, shoot, here we go." And then she literally just blocked me. I
Aw.
was like, "Wait, hello?" I was like, "But you know what a psychic is the same thing as a prophet or no
Yeah.
disconnect." I was like, this is my friend from like high school, college. And it was just that was enough to make her like, she is, no, I'm not dealing with that. I don't want to deal with that. This is demonic, blah, blah. Like I already knew her mindset. But I'm like, but just last week you asked me to pray for you. So I was doing this for this long. So yeah, I definitely feel that, the title, I don't really care for the title as well, but it does make you want to be like, I'm not going to tell this person because I can gauge the conversation. and I
Yeah.
see what they're, what they think about stuff like this already. So
Mm.
I'm not gonna reveal it, but it's still kind of, dang, you're my friend,
It
like,
hurts.
and so I think about her all the time, like maybe the past 2 years since it happened. I still think about her. I'm like, oh, I hope she's okay. And I hope everything is fine with her. I always
Mhm.
want to send good love and good energy. So that
Yeah.
resonates, Brooke. It really does.
Yeah,
Because
'cause it
it
sucks. It's like
really does.
sad. It's like,
Yeah,
and they think, and it's bad because they feel like you're a bad person, but you're not. Like they can't see past the dark side. And it's like, but you loved me before you knew.
right.
Like you
Right.
said, you talked to me a week ago and I'm the same person.
Yep.
And it sucks when someone tries to put like a negative thing with it. And it hurts my feelings like it does. Like I have to be honest, hurts my feelings, you
Yeah.
know?
Spirit already showed me she's gonna make her way back because her eyes are she's gonna begin to see and understand, and I'm still gonna be like, well, friend, I've never not disliked you. I still consider you a friend. So I won't do you the way you did me. It's okay. I
Mhm.
still it's love over here. It's still I get it. I get it because coming from the spaces we came from, I get it.
Right.
So I have to, just move on and just, continue to heal those that are coming, the ones that are coming in my path. You can't stay stuck in this path, Brooke, because there's more people coming. So it's like I can't stay sad or I can't stay in a space to
Um,
where I can't do this because there are more people coming for healing and more people coming for guidance and just to hear your voice and help them connect. That's all they want. And they don't know that you don't even know, 10 months from now, somebody that's really gonna be like, oh my God, I've been looking for you for the past 2 years and now you're here, because you're still doing the thing. So I definitely give you kudos for that, Brooke. Kudos to you. Okay. I do want to ask you, okay, so your 21-year-old, 18-year-old self, if they would have met this Brooke now, what would they say or what would you tell your 18-year-old self, 19, 20-year-old self? What would you say to that Brooke?
I would not even, if you told me I was doing this then, I wouldn't believe you. There's no way. I would not believe anything you said about like if I were to say something to myself. I'm actually really proud of myself because I've overcame a lot.
Mhm,
And so I would just tell my younger self that it's going to be okay because I've been through a lot and
mhm,
I've had to do a lot of stuff on my own.
mhm,
And a lot of stuff people should not have to do on their own. So I would just say that I'm like, I'll be really proud of myself in the future for overcoming and setting my mind to certain things. Because that is one thing about me. If you say I can't do it, I'll prove to you I can.
mhm.
Um, so yeah, I would say I'd be really proud of who I am today and what I've achieved.
Okay, all right. And if you were to meet your future self, if your future self was to show up and tell you anything encouraging to you or to let you know, like what would you want to know from your future self 10 years from now? If your future self was to show up, come off a plane and said, hi, I am 10 years from now, Brooke. I was sent here to meet up with you and connect with you. I came from the year 2034.
Oh my gosh, I don't even know. That's a good question. That's a hard question. I would say, hopefully my future self would get off that spaceship and be like, you know, I don't even know. I don't know, Army. That's a hard one. I'm trying to think of what. I guess just to be like, you're healthy, you're good, that you are still healing people, you're still helping people, that I'm still on the right path, and
Mhm,
that I'm physically okay. Because I do feel like mediumship definitely takes a toll on my physical and my mental health at times,
mhm,
depending on who we have sitting in front of us because a lot of people, they only see their hour. They
mhm,
don't see the hours that I deal with death. And
mhm.
I do feel like that takes a toll on my mental health sometimes. So hopefully my future self will be like, you made it, you did it, you're still good, you're still healthy, you're still healing.
Yes,
You
yes.
know?
Yeah, I definitely would want to know that as well. Like, okay. And then, since you're in 2034, tell me something good. What is going to happen? But I probably will do it with limitations. I don't want to know everything because I don't want to be
Right.
like, okay, in 2020, this should be happening. Why is this not happening? And change
Yeah.
some things. I don't want to change anything.
Right. I don't either. I just want to make sure I'm healthy,
Yeah.
everything's good, and like we're still healing. Like we're still helping people and we're still on our path of however we should be,
I agree. I
for our
agree.
future.
What
Yeah.
would you be? What's the most rewarding part of doing this? What do you feel like it's just the most rewarding? I love this. I'm glad that I like what is Brooke's view of reward for this?
I think the most rewarding is when people come to see me and then they'll message me and say that I changed their life
Mm-hmm.
for the better.
Mm-hmm.
Because I usually a lot of people aren't expecting like certain loved ones to come through or what they say that they come through. And a lot of people say, what we do changed their life because depending on how their loved one passed, like I don't believe in purgatory or anything or stuck or stuff like that. And that gives them hope that their loved ones are around them, that their loved ones see them and that they're truly not gone. And that's the most rewarding, especially with parents, because parents are some of the hardest people to read, because I have a child.
Mm-hmm.
So, being a medium and you have somebody sitting in your office and that was in the church, one lady was in a Catholic church and, she's mad. She's mad at God. Why did God not save her child, but save the other one? And everybody prayed for everybody, right? So there's a lot of questions there and there's a lot of anger and hurt. And if you can give that person a little bit of peace and comfort and heal some of their hurt and anger within an hour, then we did a really good job. And to me, that is the most important about what we do is to give that healing and then to get the feedback
Mm-hmm.
of our clients to say, hey, that was amazing and I feel better now. Like, they're not as sad as they were, or I don't know. It's like just a sense of hope and a sense of peace. And it's just all like what we do is all about healing. And how can we heal people's souls?
I agree. I agree. This was so awesome, Brooke. I can ask you like 1,000 more questions.
We could do this again. I have like a ton of more stories and all. I got a
This
lot.
was so good. This was so good. I definitely appreciate you hanging out with me for this last hour. It felt like less than an hour. I don't even know. It was probably, but this was such an amazing it gave me a few aha moments. It gave me like a few I'm glad to see your viewpoint on a lot of this stuff. Being that you've been doing it for a while, much longer than me. So I definitely appreciate that. And I want to know if you would, for those that are watching, what advice would you give them as a new medium stepping into this space? Like, what would you give them as a good advice coming from, the experience that you've had and you see in other new mediums? Are you teaching mediums? Are you planning on doing any of these stuff? So,
Oh,
what
yeah.
would you go ahead and tell us about that?
The first thing I would say is don't be scared. Because spirit and things like that cannot hurt you. Try to stay positive. Even if a spirit's trying to get your attention, it's for your highest good. It's nothing to be scared of. There's no like nothing's gonna hurt you or damage your house or yourself or that's why we say don't be scared. And the second is to have fun. Don't take it too seriously. Don't try, don't be too nervous or don't worry if spirit's going to show up or not. Remember to have fun in the process. Remember that it's exciting. Remember that it is, like all the things that you could learn with spirit. And don't put yourself into one box or don't say, oh, I can't do that.
Right.
Oh, that's not me. Because, well, if you put those limitations, I promise you, you won't do it. I
Mhm.
promise if you say you can't, you can't do psychic work, but you could do mediumship, you probably won't because you just put that limitation on yourself. Say you could do it all. You might not be great at everything. There's things that I'm not good at, and I still have fun and I still want to try. So, like, just try everything. Just have fun with it.
That's why I
You
love you, Brooke. That's why I love you. Because you don't live it. Listen, this is what I say all the time, Brooke. Oh my God, you make me so happy because I literally tell
know?
you the same thing. Come on, guys. If God is limitless, why do you set these limitations on yourself? You are limitless too. Oh,
Right?
that's so refreshing. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
No,
continue.
you're good. You're good.
So
You're
good.
good.
So good. Yes, yes, definitely what people need to hear. And you did say you teach, so that's good. How does that feel being in that space to teach other people to do this?
I think it feels good because I can encourage them and push them out of their comfort zone. Because a lot of people don't trust spirit or don't trust what they get. And I
Mhm.
was doing a monthly online circle that I was teaching. I had to take a break because I got too busy with other stuff, but I'll start it back up. And then I have one lady that I'm mentoring. It's hard to fit everything in, like
Mhm.
trying with everybody's different schedules, and my schedule's crazy. And it's nice. I am very positive, but I will tell you like it is. So I tell people if you want a mentor that is going to sugarcoat, I'm not the one for you because I will push you, I will critique you, but in a positive way because I want the best version of yourself. And so I'm not going to say, oh, that was great if it wasn't. I'm going to say, you need to work on this more. You need to really focus in on this. And I think that's what people actually appreciate is someone guiding them through the process. Because one of my mentors was just like, just give a message. And it's like, I, what? Where's the guidance? What do you mean a message?
Right.
Like, I don't know. What did you have for lunch today, Jeannie? You want me to
Right.
figure that out? Like, what message? Like, maybe you shouldn't eat pasta. I don't know. Like,
Mhm.
there's like that, you work with people for so much in a circle. You get to know them so much.
Mhm.
There has to be guidance on evidence and figuring out what you're feeling and see why you're feeling it. Because I have to tell you, most people, if they don't get it correct, they give up.
Mhm.
The first time they fail, they're like, I can't do this. I
Yep.
can't connect with spirit. I'm not good at this. And I'm like, you're right, you won't be. So
Mhm.
if you want to quit, you quit. And
Mhm.
when you're ready to come back, come back.
Yep.
Because you cannot force anybody, but people get discouraged so quickly. I'm like, spirit doesn't have a mouth.
Right. Right. Come
You
on.
have to tune it. There's no handbook. There's
Yes.
no like, oh, you have now achieved like a scholarship for, mediumship, and now you're the highest grade this. It doesn't work that way. It's a process and it's an unfoldment. And for you could see something and I could see something, it could mean the same thing, but yet interpreted two different ways.
Absolutely.
We're all different.
Yes, yes. I want to thank you so much, Brooke, for coming. Thank you, thank you, thank you. For those that are watching, Brooke, let them know where they can find you. I want them to be able to find you and get, if they want to take a class with you or connect with you somehow, where can they find you?
You can go to my Facebook page, Spiritual Medium Brooke Ann. I do try to stay active on that. I'm on TikTok at Spiritual Medium Brooke Ann as well. And then you can book a session at mediumbrookeann.com. If you live in my area, I'm in Myrtle Beach. You would come in person or I offer in on Zoom as well. So
Love that. Love that.
thank
I
you.
thank you again, Brooke, for hanging out with me, you
Thank
guys.
you,
Love on
Army.
Brooke. Okay, y'all do not hesitate to follow Brooke on all these spaces. You guys will love her. You guys will see how she is anyway. She's very straight up. I love that about her. That's my favorite part. She doesn't sugarcoat it and she goes straight up. We need more people like that in this world, baby. Yes, we do. I want to thank you again, Brooke, for being on my podcast, my first
Army.
person. Woohoo! And I got
Awesome.
chills. So this is definitely something that, Spirit was like, get Brooke, get Brooke, get Brooke.
Thank you. Thank you, Army.
And I thank you guys for hanging out and listening to this podcast. I hope you guys enjoy it. And I thank you until next episode. I'll see you guys later, hear you guys later, chat with y'all later. All right. Bye guys. Hey, hey, hey. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you find this episode helpful and inspiring. If you're feeling called to dive deeper into your spiritual journey, I'd love to support you. You can book a one-on-one session with me to get personalized guidance or join my mediumship courses to connect with your own intuitive gifts. Head over to ermiesees.com to explore all of the options. Remember, your spiritual growth starts with a single step, and I'm here to walk with you every step of the way. Until next time, trust your intuition and stay connected.